is the island of Britain, which we see here, England. So those are our markers to know that we're in the continent of Europe and that we're in the northern part of Europe. And we can see all of these cities are Hanseatic trade routes. You can see them highlighted on our map, all right, in our key. And so all of the pink connects these cities. The Hanseatic League, the group of merchants that worked together to make sure that trade was successful, was centered here in Germany, in northern Europe. So what was this Renaissance we're talking about? The Renaissance is usually translated as a rebirth of art and learning. So it's considered the golden age of Europe when they came out of the Dark Ages and began having new achievements in the areas of art and technology. One of the focuses of this time was on humanism, and we can see in this particular painting as well that focus on humanism. So this is a piece from Michelangelo. It's painted on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, and although it's a religious painting, this is God and Adam, what we notice is the humanism in the detail on his body. So you can see the realistic nature of the muscles and the body positioning. So that shows us that this is a humanist piece, even though it has a religious theme. We also see humanism in this piece of artwork, which also shows us classicism. So we see a focus on non-religious ideas and also classic ideas. So this is looking back to Greek and Roman ideals, which was also something that happened a lot in the Renaissance. The other thing we see here is the one-point perspective, the single-point perspective, which is basically a vanishing point. And what we see is that somewhere back here in the middle of this painting, there is a point at which all of the different pieces come together and show perspective. And so you can see depth here. You can see something in front of and behind another. It kind of shows it like it's 3D. How, if I was drawing my lines correctly, we would see that all these different points really come together and vanish into one part. So that perspective in Greek and Roman ideals are also a huge part of Renaissance art. This is a piece by Albrecht Dürer, who was part of the Northern Renaissance. He was out of the Netherlands. We see a lot of artists in Germany and the Netherlands working on secular ideas. So the Italian painters still did a lot of religious art, even though it showed the humanism in the focus on anatomy. But secular, this idea of a non-religious piece of art, was very popular in the Northern Renaissance. And we see the humanism here with our environment. So even though this is not a human, right, it's a rabbit, we can still see that the focus is on the world and the earth and not on God and heaven and religion. This is no coincidence that the Reformation started in Germany. So you often in your notes see this, instead of just Reformation, you see Protestant Reformation. And we want to pay attention to those two words that we see in these words in their stems, protest and reform. The Protestant Reformation was a movement to try to change the Roman Catholic Church, which, if you remember, controlled all of Europe for a period of time. But now, as you can see on this map, many different religions, different branches of Christianity were practiced. So I'm going to outline for you, it's a little bit hard to see on this map, some of the darker orange of Lutheran churches. You can also see Calvinism, which is in sort of the blue areas. The light yellow is still Catholic. And basically what we see here is that the Protestant Reformation results in the end of religious unity in Europe. So previously, if you were a Christian in Western Europe, you practiced Roman Catholicism, but after the Protestant Reformation, that was gone. So the Catholic Church still had a lot of power, still does today, but the unity, all Christians were not looking to the Catholic Church. They looked to the Lutheran Church or the Anglican Church or the Calvinist Church to try to get their spiritual guidance. And that Protestant Reformation was started by a man named Martin Luther. This is just kind of a funny picture of him. It says, "I don't always nail things to church doors, but when I do, stuff starts to happen." Martin Luther was a monk who originally did not set out to start his own church. What he wanted to do was make the Catholic Church better. And so he had some problems with things like indulgences and the excess of the church. An indulgence was something at the time that was sold as kind of a ticket to heaven, that if you paid the money, you'd be able to get to heaven. And Martin Luther really did not like that idea. So that, amongst other things, was written into his 95 Theses, which was a document. So this was a document that Martin Luther wrote with a list of all the things he did not like about what the Catholic Church was doing. 95 ideas that he had about how to make it better. And what he did was he nailed it to the front door of a cathedral in Wittenberg, Germany, that northern part of Europe. So I've used the word Catholic Church as an institution in this presentation, the organization of the church. And now I'm going to talk about an actual physical church. Martin Luther wanted everyone to see what he had a problem with. And so he made his list and put it on paper and took those and hung it up on a place where everyone would see it, which was the Catholic Church. So he nailed it to the front door of the church in Wittenberg, Germany, right in the middle, so that everyone could see it. And although the priest at that church took it down, Martin Luther also sent his ideas to the Pope, and they were picked up by someone and copied over and over and over again using the printing press. So Martin Luther started the Protestant Reformation with the help of the printing press that helped to spread his ideas, which were written in the 95 Theses.